Welcome back to Fast Casual. I'm your host, Miranda Copjec, where we dive deep into the strategies and innovations shaping the restaurant and hospitality industry. Today, I'm excited to welcome Gray Rains, managing partner of Rains Hospitality, a leading hospitality company that manages luxury and boutique hotels across the Southeast. Gray has been instrumental in growing the family business while maintaining a strong, people-centered culture. We'll be discussing how Gray has expanded operations without sacrificing quality, as well as his insights on leadership and innovation in the hospitality space. Gray, it is great to have you on the show.
Excited to be here. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, and I feel like I can't do your intro justice, so I want to pass it over to you to give the listeners like that 30, 60-second elevator pitch.
No, you did a great job. Rain's fully integrated development management and investment firm located in Florence, South Carolina, offices in Charleston, South Carolina, as well as Dallas, Texas. And we're excited about the path we're on, the growth we're seeing, trying to do it the right way. But now we have our management company with two different arms within our management company. We have our core branded assets, Hilton Garden Inn, Courtyard, Residence Inn. And then we have Woven by Rains, which is our management leadership team focused on independent luxury soft branded assets. So the teams work together, but it's different levels of expertise that are needed to have both of those asset classes, those types of assets to be managed properly. So excited about where those teams are going this year. Our development company, top to bottom development, we identify the sites, we identify the brands, we secure lending, hire the architects, contractors. We see it from top to bottom. And then our investment arm, we structure all of our investments internally. We raise our own capital and have been doing that for a long time. So we're excited. There we go.
I remember when we first got introduced, we were chit-chatting, you were giving me a little bit of a background on the family business, and you had mentioned, and I was thinking about this, and I was like, I feel like I need to hear this again from Gray, that it was within a really short period of time that you guys went from something like just a handful of locations to this like empire of locations.
It's been a tremendous growth. The last few years, we've really seen it really since 2015, but everything was put in motion in 2009. So I joined the company in 2003, kind of right out of college. Always wanted to be part of the family business. I thought it would be a little bit longer path to get there. Unfortunately, my father got very sick in 2000, and it just kind of accelerated my path into the company. He is the greatest guy in the world. He loved the hospitality business. I mean, he loved everything about it, and I think that's where my passion comes from for it. So, no, I mean, to take the family business, 2009, we raised our first outside capital. That was kind of one of the things that I feel like I've brought to the table here with the company is being able to structure our investments and then go out and raise the capital for it. So from there, we had two assets in 2003, or really one asset open, one under construction. And today we're right around 60 assets throughout the Southeast. So it's been pretty rapid growth. We've done that through organic development, building new construction. It's come through acquisitions. It's come through the acquisition of another management company. I think that's one of the things that we did that's becoming more and more popular every day. But when we did it, it certainly was noticed that the acquisition of HP Hotels and what that did for our presence in the Southeast of acquiring HP, acquiring not just their contracts. I mean, there's folks out there in the business that we want to buy your contracts. We want to buy your contracts. And that's just not the way we approached it. That's not the way we felt would offer the best product for the ownership groups, for the investors. It really was as much about the people side of it, to bring Kerry Ranson in as a partner, to have the other HP employees join the Rains team. It's done exactly what we thought it would do. It's been a force multiplier. It's the old 2 + 2 = 10 with what we've done with the HP acquisition, but it's allowed us to grow in the right way with the right ownership groups.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like so fascinated by like like your family, the growth, and I'm sure you're making your father very proud. Just given like, where you've taken the company to. And it started with, so it sounds like the family business started with your dad. You came in 2003. Your father laid that foundation. And then your family has built this hospitality legacy over the decades. I'm really interested to know how you've maintained such a strong family-oriented company culture as you guys have grown from, like you said, 1, 2, 3 locations to 60 and have all these different arms and a lot of terminology going over my head in
Well,
the financial realm. But, I'd love to kind of hear how you've maintained this company culture, this family oriented company culture.
so I'm technically fourth generation in the business. It was started with my great grandmother in the 1950s. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so it is a tradition that has continued from my great grandmother to my grandfather to my uncle and my father, and then from my father, my uncle and my mother to me. And so I appreciate the time here, and I try to look at it as just a steward for a period of time. I certainly hope it doesn't end with me, and it didn't begin with me. So, we take that approach every day. I mean, the family side of it is huge. We've had a lot of folks that have spent a lot of time with us, and I think that the career path is what excites me. I mean, we have done ourselves a disservice in hospitality in that we've worked people too much, and the quality of life can suffer in the hospitality world, and it's a problem that we're taking on. We're challenging others to take on, and that we've got to be able to show a career path, but we've also got to show a quality of life. And as addictive as hospitality can be, and as much fun as it can be, it can also take people down roads that you don't want to go down. So we're spending time and money trying to figure all of that out. It is an important goal to make sure that quality of life is an important piece of anyone's journey with the Reigns Company.
I feel like that's such an interesting or like exciting point, because I think work-life balance is something, especially post-COVID, right? Like post-COVID, that was really brought to light, is like the work-life balance. And I think a lot of individuals, especially during COVID, kind of sat down and realized, okay, like, I had been spending my whole life living to work, but I want to work to live now. Like, I want to be able to enjoy time with my family, travel, see the world, be part of something bigger than myself, but also not have it like engulf who I am outside of these,
Right.
like these four walls. And I think individuals right now, they're not settling anymore for organizations that don't value that, right? They're finding places that they can do their lives, their life's goal, but also be like, I'm here to work to live. And I think setting that precedent and being a company where individuals can thrive, grow, but also thrive and grow outside of work is really a place where individuals can then, grow and feel like they want to be part of that organization. Do you know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
if you don't feel like you're like the company's passionate about you, you're not going to be passionate about the company.
No, not the least bit. And again, we saw so many good people leave hospitality. I mean, we had folks from our own company. I mean, that left GMs or director of sales has said the 24/7 business is just too much, and especially during COVID when teams got really lean and everyone was jumping in to do everything. It certainly brought to light that we as a hospitality industry have things that we need to get a hold of so that we do present a career path that folks are excited about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've been watching a lot of The Bear recently, which is like my
Right?
I don't know, do you watch The Bear?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I mean, I just think that like, I mean, it does, but I have so many friends that have made like careers out of hospitality. So our career as servers or chefs. And I'm like, have you watched The Bear? And they're like, honestly, it gave me PTSD because they hit the nail on the head so strong of like what it was like, the anxiety inducing, the hours, like what it can do to your mental, your physical health, all of these different aspects. And it takes a certain kind of person dive headfirst into the hospitality space, make it their career. But I think there comes a point sometimes where you're like, can I do this? Like,
Right.
is this for me? And what is my path to stick with my passion, right? But to kind of get out of that anxiety inducing those late nights. And it sounds like your group is a place where, individuals who are passionate about the hospitality space, passionate about what it brings, but also, don't want to find themselves like ripping their hair out and
Well, I won't say we've got it all figured out, but it is a goal and it is something that we recognize. I mean, especially at the property levels, I think it's easy. It's slightly easier to address at the corporate level, and we're able to kind of work through some things. Work from home time, and just get your job done, and go live your life. It's a little easier at the corporate than it is at the property level, where there are guests 24/7. And it's finding that balance of leadership, of having the right coverage at a property, but also making sure that we're not wearing our GMs out either.
I think you hit the nail on the head. It comes down to, like, of course, if you're on the ground at at a restaurant or at a property, whatever it may be, you kind of know, like I said, it takes a certain type of person. Like, you kind of know what it's going to entail, but can this be a pleasant experience? Am I going to be worn thin? Is there going to be proper coverage? Is there going to be like systems and processes in place that will allow me to maybe step away or have not work every night until 2 a.m, but only maybe a few nights? Like, I think that you're kind of hitting the nail on the head there, which is like the coverage, the process, like that, building that culture on the ground so that individuals aren't worn thin, which again, also then goes back to that family oriented culture where I'm sure individuals are excited to work. They're excited to, present and be part of Rain. So, I mean, it sounds like you're really kind of hitting the nail on the head there. And figuring it out as you go, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. I mean, we're doing it as a team. We're working very collaboratively. I mean, I work best in a collaborative environment, and we've surrounded ourselves with folks that work the exact same way. So, just coming out of the last 2 days, I've been with the accounting team, and we've got such an amazing accounting team. And they've got their deadlines every month. They've got the things that they have to produce, whether it's property level P&Ls or tax returns or bank recs or anything like that. But it's also sitting in a room saying, okay, this is what we're doing really well, and this worked when we were at 50 properties. What systems, what technology, what people part of it do we need to solve for when we get to 75 to 100 to 150, if that's the path that we take? I think we're about quality partners. We're about quality assets. We've actually, exited some relationships this year that were really just kind of honestly mind numbing and not worth it for us. And we're privately owned. It's 5 partners in the business, and we can make long-term decisions, not short-term, trying to report back to a private equity group or anything like that. I mean, we are able to grow in a smart manner with the right partners in the right places.
It's actually such a great point because, I mean, this is a hospitality technology podcast. I get the opportunity and the privilege of chatting with a lot of incredible leaders, hospitality leaders, restaurant leaders, HR, operations, CEOs, managing partners, and every individual that I've had on the podcast, I mean, there's been a lot of really great like growth on their horizons, and it sounds like they've kind of, to your point, like are on the ground with their team, really figuring out like what is working, what is not working, where should our time be spent, and really understanding each function of the business. But to that point, I think, technology, right? To kind of pivot that to there's so much technology out there these days. I mean, there's a technology solution for everything. And it's really trying to figure out like what is worth our time, what is not worth our time, what is a short-term partner, what is like maybe like just an industry trend rather than, something that's going to be here for the long haul. What is really, where can we put our energy and investment into? So I'd love to kind of get an understanding of like, what you've seen as pivotal in your growth from like the technology perspective.
Yeah, so I mean, it's somewhere we spent a lot of time. I mean, we've been burned too. I mean, we've been early adopters in a technology that sounded amazing, whether that was a robot or a piece of HR software or anything like that. So I mean, it is something I'd say we're certainly not forerunner. We don't run to the front with with every fad that is at the next conference, but we do truly vet our partners. And then what we've done is pick and choose partners who are also investing in technology, and then we're building that platform together. I think of, with the way that Mark Laporte, who I think is just one of the most fantastic guys in the world from Concord Hospitality, the way they partnered with AppTech to help AppTech's accounting software become. I mean, they truly look at it as a partnership. If you talk to either side, they have grown and become more sophisticated over time because of that partnership. And that's the same way we approach it: is who has the infrastructure, who is making the investments, what's behind the company. I mean, is it founder led? Is it private equity behind it, just saying grow, 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 so we can then exit? I think you really have to, when you're investing your dollars, I mean, anywhere from, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars into some of these technology platforms over the course of years, you really have to do your diligence all the way through the company, not just some flashy salesperson.
Yeah. What has been like, I guess, is there a piece of technology that stands out to you that's been really pivotal for your growth?
I think we're aligned with M3 on the accounting piece, and I think between M3, their professional services, but also the BI integration and the dashboard that they create that allows us to really, especially our above property folks, to really move from property to property, but then also aggregate to understand the dashboard that they can look at every single day and how quickly it's now integrating with the PMS systems from the property. I think that's it. So much of that used to be manual on a nightly basis that's becoming automated. So I mean that's a big piece of it that we really like is there's so much data out there. Now it's sorting through the data to get to the important pieces that allow us to make our decisions. I mean, whether that's the Calibri folks, Cindy Estes Green, it's just absolutely brilliant. Another great partner. I mean, her data really is the leading data for us for when we develop, when we acquire, when we make conversions. That's where we're going to first are the reports there with Calibri.
I mean, our listeners have probably heard me say this every episode, but I feel like this will become my signature line. I have no idea what people did before, like Excel or like even just basic Excel. I'm like, what were you do? Like, oh my goodness, could you imagine having to?
Notebooks, lots of pen and paper. I still.
Oh my God, like I just can't even imagine. And I now there's technology, like you said, like technology to help you analyze your data, help you analyze. Like I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like explaining the piece of pivotal technology that came down to like figuring out how much like product they needed or how much what they needed to
Inventory.
purchase,
Yeah.
purchasing, and based off of sales. And I was like, how are you doing that before this piece of
Right.
technology? Hats off. But I mean, like I would, you like you said, like the business started with your great grandmother. So and just your great grandmother to your grandfather to your father to you, and I'm sure it's not going to end with you. So there's going to
Yeah.
be it's going to continuously grow, and it's going to be so interesting. Like with this podcast, for example, now we can kind of start recording these things. We can start like looking back. And I'm sure you probably are like, I wish I could probably ask my great grandmother, like how she started
Awesome.
laying that foundation and scaling and really what she has seen change. And I'm sure one day when you're two, three, another generation down the line, they can turn back to this podcast and be like, well, this is what Gray was doing, and this is where they
He had
saw.
no idea what he was doing. That's what they'll say. So it's just yeah, they could poke fun at Grandpa, I guess.
But I'm so interested. So you joined in 2003, and I'm sure you also saw your father take the reins. No pun intended, actually.
Yeah.
Take the reins and begin to scale and whatnot. So you probably have seen this through from even the 1990s to now. what if like pieces of technology how have you seen technology evolve, especially within like it's like such a
Yeah,
big.
I've gotten to see it all. I mean, smartphones and every piece of it has changed in just my tenure since 2003. I mean, we went back from again such a manual process to now it's sifting through all of the data available to what is important to making decisions every single day. So, I think that yeah, my I would argue that the roughly the 20 years I've been here, technology has probably moved faster than maybe what from the mid 80s to 2000. I mean, with what we've seen with smartphones and computers and how mobile the world truly is. I mean, I think about what I do on a daily basis as I travel a good bit and how I'm able to stay up to date on everything that is going on within the company, whether that's using the computer or Zoom and phone calls and everything else. I'm able to communicate with my team on a level that was never available to previous generations.
It's crazy. I always think about like because I I got my first smartphone, I don't even high school probably, and it's so crazy to think that like there's a whole generation out there that the smartphone is just that's just what they know. They don't know the flip phone, but also a whole generation out there that doesn't know like the beeper.
Right.
Or like I remember like my mom had like a pager and it was like I had her beeper number and it was like if I she'd be at work or something if I needed something I could beep her or page her or whatever it was. It was for a very short period of time because then they started
From a landline.
from a landline. I was talking about this the other day with somebody. Do you remember 411? You'd
Oh yeah.
call 411, can you connect me to my friend's house down the street? And that's hard to run a business. And like, I mean, they did it. Everybody did it. But now I can't imagine not being able to feel like I'm, connected with my coworkers that I have coworkers across the globe. And you would never even know because we can just conduct business and have conversations. And to your point, like you can be in all of your properties at once if you really wanted to.
Absolutely.
Um,
I mean, look at what the brands have done. I mean, the brands, whether it's from a QA inspection to PIP walkthrough, I mean, all of that's being done with iPads and FaceTime. I
it's
mean,
crazy.
it really is. I mean, that alone is something that you never would have imagined. I mean, they had teams of people, and now it's someone sitting in Bethesda communicating with the general manager on a walkthrough. And I think that some of it's good. I mean, I think that some of it for hospitality, we have to be careful. I mean, for us, we never want to truly remove the people part of it. As much as mobile key it should be a good thing, I don't like it. I like checking in at the front desk. I like having an interaction. It allows you to set the tone for a guest stay. And then also on the next, when they check out, I think that it's sad to think of someone checking into a hotel, having a stay, ordering food, and checking out, and never having a single bit of human interaction. I
I
think
agree with that.
that defeats a lot of what we strive for. I mean, that's where we differentiate ourselves as a company is with the people piece of it. We pride ourselves on operating top tier hotels, award winning hotels, and that's something that we don't want to change. And yes, the room can you can always have a clean, efficient stay, but if you take the people part out of it, it's really missing something
Yeah.
with the experience.
I agree with that. I always say technology is most beneficial to removing, to streamlining aspects and then like removing manual work from those people so that the people can focus on the guest experience, the day-to-day operations, the food quality, whatever it may be, so that they're not bogged down with some of those manual tasks, like analyzing, whatever it may be. I think that's where technology is. But like to that point, I mean, you guys own and operate luxury and boutique hotels, and some of the best part about going to a nice resort or a nice hotel or a nice, I love a good boutique hotel, is that people element. My favorite thing to do is I was in Ireland, I wanted to say a few months ago, but at this point it's like a year ago. But I went up to I was staying at a really great boutique hotel. I went up to the concierge or the check-in, and I was like, where would you go for breakfast? You're a local. Like, I have a day to explore Dublin right now. What would you do? I don't want to, don't tell me Temple Bar. Don't tell me,
Right.
whatever it may be. I will probably end up going to Temple Bar too, but like,
Well, you can't
where
beat
would you?
that if you're in Dublin. I mean, it is
Yeah, I was like,
part of
where
the
would you go
experience.
for breakfast? And he was like, he gave me a place. It was called like the Sidecar Cafe. It was something like that. I have it written down. And for anybody listening, if they're going to Dublin. And I walked in, and the owner was there, and he was pouring shots of Bailey, and it was like Bailey coffee and true Irish breakfasts. And he sat at the table with me, the owner, and ate with me. And I was like, it was one of the best meals I had in Ireland. One of the best experiences, and I would recommend every single person this place because it was just a true embodiment of the local culture, and like really good food. You can't get that if I was checking in with a robot.
Right.
They would have sent me to a
100%.
mainstream place that is trending on TikTok or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, we own and operate the Foundry Hotel. It's the number one hotel in Asheville. Absolutely fantastic stay. I mean, the rooms are great, but the people part of it is what truly differentiates it from the entire market. I mean, there's bigger hotels there. There's, you know, where it's fancy as any hotel there. That's not the right word, but what we bring to the table is the people part of it. I mean, that's what I feel like we do better than anyone else. It's a luxurious stay, but the people make it special. They know how to define that authentic local experience.
Yeah, is this Asheville, North Carolina?
Asheville, North Carolina.
I was gonna say, I have to. How's everybody doing?
You know,
In
the
Asheville, how's your
region has been
properties, your
region
team?
has been hit really hard. We're fortunate all of our team members are okay. Our physical assets are fine. The foundry is still currently closed due to water issues with the city of Asheville, but they're working hard every day to get it fixed, and our team's ready to welcome guests back as soon as we can. But
Well,
yeah,
I'm
it's
I'm
very
praying for your
sad.
team and all of that. It's just the images are heartbreaking. It's absolutely horrible. So once you said Asheville, I was like, North Carolina. I mean, yeah, it's
I was on
just
a team call this morning, trying to continue to work through solving problems associated with the hotel that's closed. We never closed a single hotel during COVID, so to have one closed for this period of time due to a hurricane is somewhat unprecedented. So we are working through that, making sure we're taking care of our associates, and then also just making sure the hotel's prepared for guests when we get the ability to bring them back.
yeah. I'm gonna have to. I'm hoping I can make it to Asheville. I hear amazing things, and now I know a great place to stay where I'm gonna get a local feel and that's I really like that's my favorite thing is a good boutique hotel. Just
Absolutely.
it's the best experience. It really feels like you're just engulfed with the locals and the culture and all of that. But I guess like so I mean you've successfully expanded into both branded and boutique hotels. So I'm sure there are unique challenges and obviously unique opportunities like when managing luxury properties versus like boutique properties. And so I guess how do you ensure consistency in guest experience but also in the brand level as you're expanding in both these different realms?
Yeah, so I think that's where David Tart, my partner, and I really, as we were expanding the company, as we were looking for opportunities to grow, he and I were both independently already in the boutique soft branded space, and we saw where there was a lot of opportunity moving forward. I mean, the guest experience, the guest demands have certainly changed, and where we can bridge those gaps and create an authentic local experience, we saw it as a lot of opportunity. And then it's also a unique challenge for us. I mean, our side of the world, we love these style assets. I mean, they're exciting to work on. They're more time consuming. They require a lot more curated thought. The team has to be, you really have to work hard to make sure it's the right team for the right project, whether that's the architect or the interior designer. And so we're very thoughtful with that. And then it's the programming and the branding piece. I mean, you really cannot miss that. But, for us, bringing all that together of seeing a future where guests wanted more of these types of stays, we wanted to expand there. And that's where the launch of our really the division of two different management companies, we realized we needed leadership for each of these style assets. And that's where, we have Woven by Rains, which is the leadership team for luxury independent soft branded assets. And that team has F&B experience and full service hotel experience, and then also the experience of curating these style assets. And then the team that's focused on the core branded, that is a very much a skill level required to efficiently operate those properties and maximize the guest return, but also the investor return. So, that's really how we started to address it. Is we realized that it wasn't a one size fits all solution, and we wanted to invest in both teams to allow success in both of those style assets.
Yeah, so I know that you have experience in nearly every front of house role. And I'm sure that has shaped your leadership approach. But I'm also sure that shaped your understanding of like what makes a successful like hospitality operation on those front lines. So I'd love to kind of hear a little bit about like, your learnings from your time on the ground. And how you've like translated that into your leadership style, into how you've grown and scaled, and like keeping this like people first culture, but guest experience culture as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I started as a short order cook in a Courtyard Marriott in Florence, South Carolina, when I was 16 years old. So slinging burgers and chicken tenders, and it just shows an appreciation for every position that we had in that particular hotel. I worked front desk. I was a front office manager. I was an assistant manager, GM. I was a GM. Went all through a path really over 5 years when I joined the company, because when I joined in 2003, operations was the only opportunity to work in the family business. It was our core business, and that's where I'm excited that we really haven't lost that as a company. I mean, at the end of the day, and we showed that during COVID. At the end of the day, we are a company of operators. When things get tight, when economic blips happen, we can go back to our core of operating hotels, and we utilize our core, and that excites me. When people join our company, I mean, they have to have a true passion for hospitality, but it's also a background in working their way up through hospitality. Those are the folks that have expanded the best with Rains and have grown to understand the path with Rains. But I think that's it. I mean, you understand what the front desk goes through on a shift, and what it takes in the world of engineering or housekeeping. I mean, we've worked all of those roles. We understand the day-to-day struggles with those roles, and how also they can change so quickly. What the goal is one day is the goal tomorrow, depending on who's coming in, who's checking in, what we need to do to take care of that guest experience. But we are also selling something that, at the end of the day, people are excited generally to get to your hotel. They're excited to experience it. Travel for most of us is a necessity for business, but they're looking forward to getting to that hotel project, that hotel to relax and enjoy.
I love a good hotel. I love a good hotel stay. Like
Me
I
too.
love
Me too.
it. There's just something about it. It's so relaxing. I love a good hotel stay.
I do too. I get excited every time. Just the other week I was at within our Hyatt Owners Council, and just stay at the Park Hyatt in Chicago. I love that property. I was excited to go and stay at that property for a couple nights, and of course see all the folks at Hyatt and the other owners that participate in that council. But I'm with you. I get excited to see all types of hotels and to experience travel and hospitality.
I prefer a hotel over like a rental property or like, a Airbnb or VRBO or whatever it may be. I just love a hotel experience. Just it's just so much more relaxing. You feel like you're on vacation or you feel like or even if you're traveling for work, it's still
Right.
so nice when you come back to the hotel to be like, okay, I'm just gonna relax now and maybe order something in, get some room service. It helps kind of decompress after a long day.
Well, it removes concerns, right? I mean, in the hotel, it's going to offer consistency. It's going to offer safety. You know that you've got someone there 24 hours a day that can help take care of things. I mean, that's where again Airbnb, VRBO, they have a place. It's not for me. It's not something that I utilize, but things that I can expect in a hotel stay, especially ones that are branded. I mean, that work with Hilton and Marriott. That level of consistency is there. That expectation of safety is there, and then just an amazing experiences on top of that.
Yeah. So I have to ask, so you guys operate solely like in the Southeast. Any plans to expand nationwide, heading up to the Northeast, anything along those lines?
Things are good in the Southeast. Opportunities here. We've always grown within our backyard and when it made sense. And I think that we would never say we're not going somewhere. It's just that the opportunity has been here. The influx of people moving to the Southeast has created new opportunities, emerging markets. Dallas, I mean, that was purely relationship driven. Partnership with Atlantic Hotel Group allowed us to establish a Dallas office and take over management of 18 hotels. So, again, I would never discount an area, but we like being in the Southeast. It is home. It is where we're comfortable. It's where we've got a very good team that knows how to operate within the Southeast. But as we can continue to grow, we are considering acquisitions of other management companies right now. So I think that could enable us to grow into other areas that might not be on the radar for development growth today.
Yeah, I like some of my favorite cities are in the Southeast. I mean, Charleston is incredible, and Charleston is what they say it's like one of the best cities in the country right
Yeah,
now for vacation.
11 years in a row. Kind of,
My
yeah.
sister went to college at Charleston.
It's
I
a
spent a
great school.
lot of wait, did you go to college at Charleston?
I did not. My wife went to college in Charleston, but
Okay,
I've
amazing.
spent plenty of time in Charleston, so
Charleston is amazing.
it's
So I went to the University of Alabama. So I spent a lot of time in Tuscaloosa. And when my sister went to college at Charleston, my parents would always be like, let's meet in Charleston. I was like, you don't want to come to Tuscaloosa? They're like, it's I like Tuscaloosa like for, one-off weekends or whatever, but
right.
Charleston, like the food scene, like the art, I mean, there's just so much to do in Charleston.
It is such a great city, and only getting better. I mean, it's truly grown to be an international city. I mean, with the corporate base that's there now, with Mercedes and Boeing and Volvo, but also just that small southern charm of the historic district, and
Yeah,
the food scene is
the food scene is
spectacular.
spectacular.
It really is.
Oh, I need to head back to Charleston. Like and Nashville too, South is in the South. Is that's in the
Yeah,
Southeast.
yeah,
Like I'm
yeah,
thinking
yeah,
of like the map.
yeah.
Like Asheville, there's just so many Savannah,
Savannah's great.
Atlanta.
We've got two new projects coming up in Savannah: a courtyard and a tribute right on the water, and got a great group we've partnered with there. And yeah, it's so many great cities in the South, and just
Austin,
seeing tremendous growth.
I feel like everybody is in Austin right now. Like
Austin is another world. That is
it's
for
another world. I loved Austin. I went for a bachelorette party.
yeah.
And it was such a great city. I just yeah, now I'm just like thinking now I'm just rattling off all like my favorite cities in the South. I spent 4 years in the South, so I got the opportunity to really to travel the South and head to some really incredible cities, but also some really incredible like small towns.
Yep.
Um,
A lot of good places.
yeah, just a lot of really incredible places. I always like to have my last question be advice. Since I think one of the things that I hear all the time is there's so much advice, or there's so much information out there available to at our fingertips. And I'm sure we have a lot of listeners that have either, are looking to scale, maybe own and operate a few hotels, maybe are looking to get into the hospitality space, whether that be, the hotel, restaurant business, whatever it may be. What is a piece of advice that you would give to somebody listening today that's looking to scale? Or is even scaled and is maybe going through some hardships and looking to kind of reroute, like whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest piece on the scale side of the world is do your diligence on your partners. I'm lucky to have one of the best partners in the world, David Tart, that is, he and I work hand to hand. I mean, my mom and my uncle, to work with them still every day is just an absolute blessing. It's the greatest thing in the world. And then I think it's finding the balance within building a team of, not being shy about your goals and where you're going and what you're going to do, but it's also building a loyal team that stays with you through thick and thin. I think that there's a lot of folks that move in and out of organizations, and they may offer some level of expertise, but if they come in and disrupt a loyal team, it's really it disrupts everything. And I think that's the biggest piece I've seen is our diligence that we do to make sure that a fit is not just the smart technical piece of joining our team, but it's also culturally someone that's going to thrive and also bring everyone else up with them. So, those are the things. I think from a scalability standpoint, you've got to have a team to be able to do any of that. And I work with the best people in the world, and they've been with me a long time. And we're just excited that we're all on the same path of growing together.
Yeah, I feel like that's just the common theme. The common denominator in hospitality is people.
Absolutely. And we can never forget that. And we have two groups of people. We have a guest that we need to stay and to take care of us, but we also have our associates, and we have to take care of our associates. As Bill Marriott said, take care of your associates, and your associates take care of your guests. And that's something that's been with us for a long time. I remember my father repeating that, and truer words have never been spoken.
Well, I feel like that's just like the best note to end on here. So thank you, Gray, for sharing such valuable insights into really how Rains has balanced growth, innovation, while maintaining this family-oriented culture, this employee and guest culture in the luxury hotel space. So to our listeners, I hope you've gathered some actionable takeaways. Stay tuned for more episodes as we continue to explore the cutting edge of hospitality and restaurant operations. Until next week, this is Miranda with Fast Casual.